can't wait to watch the fight tomorrow. My best to both men into the boxing ring, to Oleksandr Usyk, to Anthony Joshua. It takes real men to step in this ring. If you have never stepped into a ring and you're talking shit about fighters, well, you best check yourself and get into a ring and learn what it really takes to get in there. It is not, we don't, we play football, we play soccer, we play hockey, we play, gymnastics. We don't play boxing. You can die in that ring. This is a serious sport. This is why I respect all boxers from all nations, all creed and color. Have my respect. All right, here we go. My prediction for 4 reasons why Oleksandr Usyk wins the rematch against Anthony Joshua. Okay, number 1, stamina and attrition. As we can see in the first fight, Usyk's gas tank is on another level for heavyweight boxing and pretty much boxing in every division. He retains his punch volume round for round, goes above and beyond for 11th and 12th round, which we saw he did to Joshua. He basically even held off the gas and did not want to put him on the canvas. Cheers for AJ, though. I was really actually surprised how well he did bobbing and weaving some of those shots that almost knocked him out. So for a 6'6" guy on a frame like that, I got to give my props to AJ. He has a lot better stamina than I thought he did. However, he was questionable against Vladimir Klitschko when he got knocked down and had some trouble with that. But for a big man, his stamina is really good. However, he does not match the punch volume output and the stamina and attrition that Oleksandr Usyk does. This guy is just on another level in terms of punch volume, punch selection, accuracy, feinting. His gas tank just goes above and beyond for, just about any heavyweight boxer or any boxer in boxing in the pound for pound list. Attrition. Attrition is when your body wears down from friction and rubbing and just basically abuse. Heavyweight boxing has to take some of the most abuse ever just because those guys are so heavy-handed, punching in, I believe, 8 or 10 ounce gloves for heavyweight, which if you've never sparred or been in an amateur fight or a pro boxing fight, I can't really emphasize to you how much it hurts to get punched. And those are just 16 ounce gloves if you're doing amateur. Now add in a heavy-handed guy who could basically punch through a wall in 8 or 10 ounce gloves. The attrition and wear down of your body, even with shots on your forearms, your shoulders, your stomach, your torso, your chin, it's going to wear your body down. And Usyk seems to have very good attrition and wear down, taking abuse and damage. And this will lead into number 2 of my list as to why this will help him. So that is my number 1 for stamina and attrition. Usyk is one of the best in the entire game for stamina and attrition. That will be one of the factors he takes out Anthony Joshua. Number 2, the Soviet pendulum. All right, so for Westerners, this is a new boxing style you have never really seen. No, it is not like the Mexican style that's been used by some guys in American. The Soviet pendulum simply comes from footwork. So just imagine you're taking a pendulum and you're moving it like this on something that swings on your desk back and forth. And that's what the Soviet athletes were trained as soon as they stepped foot into a boxing gym. They were taught the Soviet pendulum. They were not even allowed to throw a punch. They had to bob back and forth. This is how the amateur system works in the Soviet Union. Now it's post-Soviet, so it is still a part of their boxing style, which has, was just being seen by Westerners now. And it is really mainly the one reason why all these guys are beating people like Yanabek, Israel Madrimov, Oleksandr Usyk, Vasily Lomachenko. Even Golovkin used the pendulum a little bit. Now this is if you watch Yanabek Algmundi in the amateurs and the Olympics, he beat Errol Spence. I believe it was the Olympics or the European Championships. He beat Errol Spence, schooled him, brought him to school in amateur boxing just by the use of a pristine jab and the Soviet pendulum. Oleksandr Usyk is the only guy in the heavyweight division using the pendulum. Has one of the best pendulums in the sport. For a guy that's 6'3", just ridiculous. I don't understand how a guy that big can move so well using the pendulum, but he seems to do it. This will lead back to my number one as to his attrition breakdown. The reason he doesn't take as much abuse is because he's using the Soviet pendulum. He gets his head off the line. He moves his head well. He uses slips and counters, and the Soviet pendulum is a nice way. It's one of the best boxing systems if used correctly. I don't really recommend the Soviet pendulum to many people wanting to learn boxing just because it is simply not practical. Your stamina has to be literally off the charts to use this. I've used the Soviet pendulum and I was just exhausted, even by round two. Your stamina has to be on point. So these guys work themselves to death in training and running, both Lomachenko, Golovkin, Usyk. And you could tell Usyk was beating his body to a pulp. He was sending sparring partners home, so his pendulum is going to be on point. This guy is ready to murk and to murder and to take out, which will lead to another one of my points as to why I believe he's winning. But in technical terms of technical boxing, there's Mexican boxing, there's American boxing, British boxing, then we have Soviet Eastern Bloc boxing. These Eastern Euros have their own form of style, and it primarily comes from footwork. And it's not really understood by the West. This is a Eastern system that is basically, if you look at UFC and boxing, Eastern Euros and Central Asian fighters and Slavics, they're kind of taking over combat sports. And I don't think they can really use the Soviet pendulum in UFC with cage fighting as much, but in boxing, that footwork technique works circles around these Western boxers. They don't really know how to deal with it. It's just pretend that there's like a fly that has boxing gloves on and it's hitting you and you can't hit it. That's kind of like what facing Soviet pendulum. If it's used properly, it's a very difficult style to fight. I've sparred guys with Mayweather technique. The Philly shell is really hard to fight somebody with. I know how to counter that. It's usually with left hooks. But if you use the Soviet pendulum, American boxers, they don't really know how to deal with that. A lot of them do. They know how to pressure and counter, really good guys, but a lot of people don't know how to deal with that style. And you can see the frustration in Joshua. The Soviet pendulum is just on another level in the echelon elite level of boxing in terms of style influences. So if you want to practice the Soviet pendulum and put it into your game plan, just remember that you have to work your ass off. Your stamina is going to have to be better than the guy you're facing. And you basically just have to stand there and bounce back and forth on the balls of your toes with your jab hand, extended out. And that's how the amateur system in Russia and a lot of these countries was developed. Okay, number 3. This is a huge one. This is both for AJ and Usyk. So, number 3, commit to the jab. If you watch fight number 1, you can see that Anthony does not know how to read Oleksandr's timing and pulse, meaning when the start of the fight happened, Usyk began the pace of the fight. AJ was reacting to Usyk's pace of the fight. If you start the pace of the fight first and the other fighter has to react to you and your actual speed, your stamina, your pace of the fight is going to dictate the fight. Oleksandr was really good at setting the pace of the fight, and the reason he could do that is because his Soviet pendulum, his stamina and attrition, his feints, and his commitment to the jab. If you watch round by round, Oleksandr commits fully to the jab. He extends his chest, his foot, his arm as far as possible and punches through the target. Anthony, on the other end, would just use his jab as a probe. I don't understand how a 6'6" frame could not commit to a jab. That's one of the first things I was taught by my coach is do not be afraid to throw your jab. The second you are afraid to stop throwing your jab, you're going to lose not only the round, the next round, you're going to lose the fight. So Oleksandr Usyk commits to his jab. He punches through the target at his torso, at his shoulders, at his chin, at his head, wherever. But he actually commits to the jab with full emphasis. Anthony's like a timid mouse when he's jabbing. He's just probing and putting out there, which he's trying to use as a divisive tactical thing, but it's just not working for him. And I don't understand why a guy who's this big is not stepping into power jabs. Maybe he's trying to, I understand, work at Alexander's pace and try to save his stamina for the later rounds. But man, if you got a frame that big and you can dictate the center of the ring with your size and your reach, gosh, man, you should be committing to every single jab that round. You can throw a couple probing jabs in there, but you got to step in and punch fully, extend your entire frame, your really long arms, and commit to that jab. You are going to lose the fight if you don't commit to power jabs. I guarantee it. And Oleksandr and Lomachenko have some of the best jabs in the entire game. So that's why Usyk won, because he committed to the jab. He used every skill asset to the highest maximum degree. Anthony, I don't know if he was going 80%, he just didn't have it that night, or he was afraid to jab. If you don't, it's like fencing. If you don't spar and fence, when they attack with you, their jab and their length is gonna get to you first. And Usyk just committed to the jab really well and just took the rounds. It's a very tactical, high degree, high echelon skill boxing. And if you're messing with these guys who have Soviet boxing at the highest degree of technicalities and not doing those little things every round, they're gonna slowly pawn and take away, your bishops, your knights, and he's gonna get to that checkmate. And he's not only tactically doing it physically, he's tactically doing it mentally. He's doing feints. He's not letting Anthony commit to his own jab, and he just takes it from him and outworks him and just, almost knocked him out in the end of the fight. Okay, number 4, my fourth and last reason as to why Oleksandr Usyk is going to win this fight, and it is heart at war and country, protection of country. If you live under a rock, you would know that Ukraine and Russia are at a war, or we call it in Russia they call it a special operations. You're not allowed to call it war. It's actually, you could get put in jail. It's really bad. But over in the West, they call it, we call it war because we can see what's going on. I'm not going to get into the politics of it. All I can say, it's a lot more complicated than what you're being shown on TV, especially American TV and British TV. Also, what's being shown on Eastern TV is not, everybody has their own propaganda, but I can definitely tell you, I really feel for Usyk and his entire country. It's a very difficult thing what's going on, and I'm not going to get into that. My respect to Usyk and Lomachenko and Ukraine, and basically the citizens. In any kind of war, is the citizens suffer the most, and it kind of sucks. So my heart goes out to Usyk. As soon as this fight is over, he's going to go back and be with his family. I just hope, this war, Ukraine and Russia, they can all, this thing dies down. Everybody, stop war. I'm giving the best. My heart goes out to Usyk during this time and his family. All right. So heart at war and country. His mindset is protect my country and make a statement. He was literally told by soldiers on the front line, dude, we don't need you here. You gave us enough support. You did enough for your country. Please, we need you in the boxing ring and make a statement. So if you guys who are literally telling you, your brother is at war, telling you need to make a statement in the ring, you best believe that Oleksandr Usyk is going to make a statement in the ring and not just point Anthony Joshua to a 12-round UD. He's going to put this guy on the canvas at least once. And if he doesn't win by TKO or KO, he is going to win by 12-round unanimous decision. This means more than just a boxing fight to Usyk. Of course it is. This is for his legacy. Usyk is one of the most prestigious and well-rewarded athletes in boxing. It's incredible how he's unified the cruiserweight division, and now he's in a rematch with Anthony Joshua. And look at the men he's beating. He beat everybody in their backyard. Now he's taking on, three-time world champ Anthony Joshua. This guy's he's huge in England. He's a megastar. So he's basically fighting people in their own backyards and beating them. And if he's got his brothers at war telling him to make a statement for us, do it for Ukraine, you best believe he's winning this fight. This guy's not going down with a fight, and he's coming to make a statement. So he's gonna. My prediction for this fight is a 10th round TKO. I'm gonna go with a 10th round TKO for Oleksandr Usyk win, and he's doing it for his heart, for his family, for his country at war, and he wants to protect Ukraine. He wants to make a statement for people worldwide watching on television in Ukraine, everywhere, to see this fight. So those are my 4 reasons as to why Usyk is going to win this fight, both technically, both mentally, heart at war, and for country and his family, his countrymen. That's why Oleksandr Usyk will win this fight. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Welcome to comment below. And I really think that Usyk and his country needs this right now. They need a morale boost, and they deserve that because their country is destroyed. So enjoy the fight, and thank you for listening. Take care.